Hey, what's going on everyone? Haviq here. It's been a while since my last video, but here we are with the all-new ROG Ally X. I always said if the Ally came out in black, then I'd be all over it, and I'm super excited about this device. Now, it's not really a redesign of the whole console, but it's more like a mid-cycle refresh, so don't consider this the Ally 2. There's a few major differences compared to the regular Ally, but we're gonna get into that in a bit. Now, let's get started with the unboxing and see what we've got. Here we've got our little stand. I wonder if it's still the cheap plastic piece that we had before. And yep, still the same cheap plastic piece that we had before. Really no difference, except now it's in two pieces rather than the one white piece that we had before. But yeah, if you really want to get a stand, I wouldn't really consider using this because these are pretty much useless. So here's our actual device cover. Tells you about the USB ports for charging. Your QR codes up here for some videos and Q&A. So let's just set this aside for a second. We'll see what else we have in here. Charging brick. I think this is just some booklet information for the ROG Ally. Yep, there's warranty and guides and all that boring stuff. So that's pretty much it. That's everything inside the box here. Now, let's take a look at the actual device. So here it is. Now, right away, you can see the first major difference, unless you have a vision impairment, that the device is black. Okay, now we can get the spec dump out of the way. So both Allies have the same processor and screen size and display technology, so you're still gonna get the VRR with both. The X actually has a bigger battery, around 80 watt hours, I believe. That's supposed to last 50% longer than the old one. And we also get a larger 1 terabyte SSD, which is gonna be easier and a bit cheaper to change out compared to the original because now we're using the M2 2280. And we also have 24 gigs of RAM compared to the 16. The overheating issue of the micro SD card shouldn't really be an issue any longer because the location of the micro SD has changed from being right up against the heatsink. Actually, you can see it's right over on this side here now. And we also get 2 USB ports instead of 1, which is always good to have more ports. So 2 right over here, and you have the volume rocker here, and obviously the power button, auxiliary port. And the weight has ever so slightly gone up from like 608 grams from the original to 678 grams, but honestly it's pretty much negligible, so you can't even tell. And you can see otherwise the device is kind of the same. I feel like the buttons are more flat. I don't have my original Ally, but the buttons just feel more flat compared to the original for me right now, but it might just be because I've been using the Steam Deck. So but yeah, otherwise it's kind of the same thing. You have your speakers on the bottom, is really nothing, just some serial numbers and all that. And then on the back you can see the button layout is a bit different here on both sides. So when you're holding the device, for me at least, my middle finger rests on the back here. So you can program these to whatever you want. But yeah, if you're considering getting a handheld device, I would really think about getting the original Ally Z1 Extreme version because it's much cheaper and the upgrades aren't that significant that you would need to get the X. But if you really want the bigger battery and you also have the cash to spend and you love the black color, then definitely, the X is for you. But overall, so far, it's kind of a, quick and dirty unboxing and real quick review since this is not really a new device for us. So it's just pretty much the original with some upgrades. But overall, we'll see. We'll turn it on and then let's just take a look real quick to see if there's any difference in the software, which I don't think there's going to be because it's the same exact device, just a few upgrades. So here we go. Let's turn it on. Well, there's absolutely no charge, so let me plug it in and then we'll turn it on. 1 second. Okay, I've plugged it in. Now let's turn it on. So we got the light going. That means we're getting some juice here. So here we go. There we go. Great, now we're in business. All right, now that we're finally in and we've got some games loaded here, here's what the basics of it looks like. Now, if you've used another Ally, then you're going to be very familiar with it. Your right button here is going to be your left click, and your right trigger here is going to be your right click. So you can click that and see. So if you press the back button and press up, it brings up the keyboard. Back button and right on the D-pad is going to open up your different windows. You can also open up a different desktop here. Back button down is going to open up the task manager, and then back button left brings you back to the desktop. So if you want to get to the desktop real quick, you can just press either of the M buttons and press left on the D-pad. Over here is your command center. So this is all customizable. You have different performance modes here. Your control mode, I usually just leave it on auto because it's able to detect whatever it needs to be in, like desktop mode or game mode. You can also say game profiles here. You can bring up your keyboard this way or using the shortcut on the back. Different monitors, if you press this, you can see the different monitor settings over here if you want to see what your games are running at. FPS limiter, you can turn it to 30, 45, 60, whatever. I just leave it off because I don't really need to mess with that. And then you have your RSR, RIS, and AFMF over here. You can turn it on, off, and depending on whatever game you're running, it'll automatically adjust to it. Resolution, I leave at 1080p, or some people like to leave it at 900p. But these are all customizable. Everything in the command center is customizable, and then obviously your LED brightness for your LEDs on either side. Again, I just leave it on off because when it's dark, they get too bright for my eyes and then it bothers me. Over here is your game visuals. So you have default, racing, scenery. It just changes the look of the screen. Again, I usually just leave this on default. And if we press this button here, it's not really going to do anything. And then this is your start button. Again, not really going to do anything. Over here is the Armory Crate button. So if you press this here, this brings us to this page here. Again, these are all where all your launchers, you can look at them from here, different games you have, your favorites. And then if you go to the settings, over here we have our control mode. So you can configure your buttons, desktop mode, gamepad mode. You can go here and configure it to whatever you want it to be. Like if some game you want to use the right stick as your mouse, then you can click that and change it to the mouse cursor over here. Or if you don't like that, you can change it to any one of these other things. All right, and if we go back to general settings, this is just personalization, your launch animations. You can have different launch animations, kind of like how the Steam Deck does. And then again, you can choose your theme, and you can see over here the difference between the different themes. Device info doesn't really matter. Storage, you can see it's 1 terabyte, but 951 usable storage. And we go back. You can also change the lightings, aura sync, audio, all those different things here. And here's where I was talking about the command center. This is where you can edit it. And I pretty much put all of them in my command center. This is just some other stuff that I never even look at in Armory Crate. These are just some screenshots and videos. So you can X out of this. Now I'll show you guys what Steam looks like. I have Steam launching in big picture mode. So if you double click this, typically the big picture mode will launch, but I already have Steam open, so we're just gonna open that here. So here's what Steam looks like. Again, this is the big picture mode. I just like the way it looks here because it's just so much cleaner, and it's better to use on a handheld rather than, you know, the original desktop Steam version. But that's just personal preference. And if you want to get out of Steam, you can go to power, and then you can just minimize Steam or exit big picture mode or exit Steam, whatever. Here's the Xbox Gamepass app, and then whatever games you download. Cloud gaming over here, you can play either. And then Game Pass, whatever games you want to download. So hey, let's just try cloud gaming real quick. We'll just pick a game and then we'll see how it works. Let's do Hollow Knight because it's not that big of a game. So we'll just click Cloud Play. So again, cloud gaming is really going to depend on your internet speeds. If you have good internet, then you're going to be able to play cloud games pretty easily, but if your internet is not good, then obviously, you know, it's just not going to work. I don't even remember what I was doing in this game. It's been a while since I played this. But anyway, that's cloud gaming. So there is a bit of a latency, like when I press the A button to jump, you can see there's a little bit of a lag, and I'm in the basement right now, so my internet connection is not greatest in the basement, but overall it's still playable. If you want to quit, you can just scroll down here and then press X, and then you can press quit the game or quit the Xbox app. So we'll just quit the game, and we're back here again. So if we quit that, and let's see what else. Oh yeah, I can show you what Diablo 2 looks like on here. So you can see image sharpening is enabled, AMFM is disabled. So if we can turn this on here. I mean, Diablo is not a very graphic intensive game, so it's not really gonna do anything, but so you can just play. Oh, here we go. You can see the game runs pretty well. It's pretty smooth. Yeah, I haven't had any issues with lag. Oh yeah, we can turn the real-time monitor on here and see. So AMFM is enabled. Battery is at 65%. You can see the GPU is at 97%. CPU is at 12%. So yeah, overall, I mean, it works fairly well. Again, it's more RAM, so games that are more heavy or intensive are going to be able to utilize that better. Games that are not really graphic intensive don't really need that much RAM, but more RAM is always better. So yeah, if you can see that better, it shows you your CPU, GPU temps, battery, APU wattage, and FPS. So we're getting pretty much constant 60 here. So yeah, that's kind of it. So again, we'll just quit. And then if we want to go use our shortcut to exit all the way out, M1 buttons on the back, or M2 and then left, and we're back at the desktop here. And then right click or right trigger is your right click. You can just close this out. Again, right trigger, right button to close that. And yeah, that's kind of a quick review of what the Ally X has to offer. So overall, pretty solid device. Is it worth buying? That's really dependent on you. If you have the old one, or if you can buy the Z1 Extreme for much cheaper, then that's the route I would go personally. I don't think you really need to spend this much money on this device. But yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Haviq out.